The Washington Wizards have lost 10 games in a row. How important is it? What are we seeing? Is there development? Is it being stunted? What college prospects look the best? Let's ask our pal Danny Rouhier today. All that and more on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, you're locked on to the Washington Wizards where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the nation, talking all things Wizards 5 days a week. Alongside the DC Sport content creating savant and my co-host Abdul Ayyubi, I'm Ben Strober and I cover DC Sports for 106.7 The Fan and the Team 980. Today we are joined by one half of the Grant and Danny Show, our pal Danny Rouhier. Funny Danny joins the program for the first time. We've been trying to make this happen for quite some time now. Danny, we're happy to finally have you on the program here.
Thank you, boys. It's an honor to be on. I didn't realize it was #1. That's a pretty big deal, dudes. I love it.
#1 as of last week. We got the news, so it's awesome.
Right in your eye.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Danny, between the football team that you have to talk about every single day and the Grant and Danny Show weekdays 2 to 6:30 on 106.7 The Fan, and the basketball team, there's not a lot of defense that we see happening around here. And although it's a 10-game losing streak for our Wizards right now, we've seen some positive development from some of these young guys like Alex Sarr and Keyshawn George throughout the season. What have you made of the first 11 games of the season here outside of losing 10 in a row?
Yeah, the win-loss record, this is what I want. I signed up for this. Literally this. I'm much older than you guys. And I lived for 40 years, basically, 41, 42, 43, however many years, of a strive for the middle. Let's see if we can get that 7 seed type build from Ernie Grunfeld for multiple decades, which is just an insult to all of us. And for so many years, they were just so content with trying to be okay. And I don't want that. I want a championship. I want a banner. I want a 50-win season. I want reasonable things that happen to every other city at some point, right? All I want is to be in the cool kids club and let the chips fall where they may. Maybe you get hot. Maybe you're a Toronto. Maybe, God willing, a Golden State type dynasty or this Oklahoma City type build. We are in an asset gathering phase. I know that sucks for a lot of people because they've been losing for a long time. But to me, there is way, it's not even on the same scale, way more value than losing with Alex Sarr turning into something than running Bradley Beal 40 minutes a night into the ground, pretending that he's a superstar so I can win 32 games. I'm not interested in the latter. I do care about the former. So to me, watching them not play very good defense every night, okay, that's a learning lesson. Now that's all I'm doing right now, guys, is gathering data. I'm trying to figure out who do I want to build around, who would I build with, and who's an asset that maybe I can spin for something else in the future, be it draft commodity, be it to pluck my next SJ off a roster where they don't realize what they have. Whatever it is, this is an asset gathering phase, and I'm seeing it happen in real time, and totally fine by me.
Yeah, 100%, Danny. I think a lot of fans need to realize this is a complete rebuild. It wasn't like in the past where you get some guy, build a big or mid-3 like Porzingis, Beal, and Kuzma, and thinking that you're going to compete and make the 7th and 8th seed. I think what we want to get from you also is head coach Brian Keefe. Danny, a lot of fans are already questioning him, and I think not a lot of people realize the plate that he's dealt with. How would you assess his coaching 12 games into the season?
That's a great question, and this is hard. This is hard because my metrics are not going to be the same as a lot of fans' metrics, right? They're going to want to see are they pulling out? Is he using some great out of timeout play to win you a game or something like that? My metrics aren't that. I'm looking at player development. I think that's what his tasks are rather. So to me, when I look at a coach. In any sport, this is, I think about this with the Nationals. I know this is Locked On Wizards, but bear with me, everybody. This is baseball. It's a game played outside, 490-foot bases, and there's a mound, the whole deal. Davey Martinez, who was let go by the Nationals during this season. One of the metrics, not World Series Davey Martinez, but for the young players, where's my improvement? Where's my better at bats as the season goes? Where are my base running bits of acumen? Where are the outfielder throwing to the right cutoff man, playing smart baseball? Rookie mistakes are fine. When rookie mistakes are being made by third, fourth, fifth, and sixth-year players, not fine anymore. Back to the Wizards. What are my metrics? It's not wins and losses. It's right now you think of that timeout last night, a minute into the third quarter, where he's screaming at him about playing some defense. They end up playing a pretty good defensive third quarter. I care right now more about player development than I do wins and losses. Some of that's going to manifest itself in good defense, good rotations, and things like that. But to me, I'm looking at the growth of Alex Sarr, and I'm going, you want to fault that guy? You want to fault Brian Keefe right now? God bless you. But I look at a guy that was jacking up shots, didn't know his ass from his elbow last year, who's now a force, who's now a 7-foot gliding around both end type weapon that could absolutely be the centerpiece of a really good team one day in the not too distant future. That's my metric right now for Brian Keefe. And again, there are going to be other folks that take issue with that. And I think that's totally fine. This is eye of the beholder type stuff, right? Where you're watching a team that's 1-11, that looks terrible at times, looks uncompetitive at times. I get the frustration. I've been there for just as long as you guys have, if not longer. But to me, I'm looking at player development as kind of my central tenet right here. And I'm seeing some of that, whether it's Sarr, whether it's George. In a negative direction, I'd say Bub Carrington doesn't really have a great role right now. I'm sure we'll get into that. But that's the only regression I've seen to this point. But my issue is more of a team organizational philosophy. They do this thing, and this is me editorializing, talking way too long, but I fill 4.5 hours every day, so I love the sound of my own voice, so bear with me. I can't stand we're going to make the young player, in theory this sounds good, earn his minutes. The inconsistent minutes for Tre Johnson. No. When he's tired, he can sit down. When he's taken too many shots and goes, Coach, my elbow's sore. Now you can sit down. I want end of game situations for him. Throw that young man into the deep end, because what I want, number one, I love the kid. But number two, I need to find out, can you handle it? Can you rise above a bad culture? Can you rise above all the losing? Can you rise above the bad habits of some guys around you? I need to see that. I need to know. I personally think he's a win with, build around player, but I need to find that out for sure, right? If I'm an evaluator. So to me, I don't like this. Now I know I'm pretty sure, I missed the tip off last night because I was getting home from taking one of my sons to and from practice. But if he started and he played significant minutes, I want more of that to continue. No thank you to Justin Champagnie in the starting lineup. No thank you to crunch time moments for CJ McCollum, win, lose, or draw. I know they've done this thing organizationally where they kind of dangle minutes like the carrot and they dangle opportunities like the carrot, trying to bring guys along slowly. Not for me. I have no interest in that. That's just my own sort of organizational 1,000-foot view. I don't know if that's a Brian Keefe decision, but that's the only thing I would quibble and say, no. Throw this young man into the deep end. He can handle it.
Hey, I want to ask you about Tre Johnson specifically, because what did we know about the kid coming out of Texas is that he was going to be the best shooter on this team, probably the best shooter in this 2025 draft class. We haven't seen a lot of opportunities where this team has facilitated the offense in a way through set offensive pieces where you get him coming off a pin down, have him coming off a screen wide open for a three-point shot, no elevator screens. We haven't seen any of that from this Washington team yet. It's kind of more, in a way, you throw him into the deep end, but say, Tre Johnson, here's the basketball. Can you get to your spot? Can you score? Do you agree with this philosophy, and how can this Wizards team get him more involved? But I want Josh Harris to tell me how.
I can't give you a full. I'll do a quick.
This is why we're here, Danny.
Yeah, all right, here we go. I got to lean a little closer.
It's sort of right now, obviously we love Tre and we want to be certain that he's contributing, but we feel like we don't have a point guard, and if we had one, we could run more sets.
Oh, that's all right. I can't do the points like that, but I think Josh is right. For the record, that's what it is to me. Is you're part of that is you're right. See what you can do. There's going to be some of those end of shot clock possessions if you're the alpha, right? There's going to be some of those. Hey, we got 7 seconds left. The initial set didn't work. Can you get us a bucket? Not all buckets are created equal, right? There's down 25 in transition, stepping into something. Then there's nothing's happening in the offense. We're stagnant. Can you still get that bucket? I like that element of growth. But I'm with you, Strokes. I would do a lot more for the kid. I want a lot of wing action with him and Sarr. I want to see some pick and pop, pick and roll. I want to see him get into the lane. They're basically, again, I think spoon feeding him a little bit in terms of some of the sets, letting some of the guys that have been through this before, been through the offense before, letting McCollum do some of the playmaking. George certainly do some of the playmaking, and he's thrived in that role. That's been awesome to a degree. But I think part of it's out of necessity without having a real, true, honest to goodness point guard to make sure everybody's distributed, getting into looks. But I think the other part is it feels like they're spoon feeding. I'm sure that's a word. Spoon feeding. Easier for me to say. I talk for a living. Spoon feeding him a little bit, and I wish again it wasn't the case. I'd like to do NBA stuff with him, right? I want some of the things you're talking about, the pin downs, and let him run around 17 screens like Reggie Miller in the late 90s. Let him do some of that stuff, because that's part of getting your shot off at the highest level, right? Is catch and shoot's lovely. It's awesome when it happens, when you're sitting there, the point guard delivers it in the pocket with the seams. You hit your corner three. Not that many threes come that way in an offense without like really dynamic scorers that sort of are the solar system that command a ton of attention from defenses. So I'd like to see more of that.
All right, let's take our first quick break. When we come back, I'll let AB chime in real quick on his quick question. Then we'll get into some of the college prospects that intrigue our friend Danny Rouhier the most. We'll be back in a second here on Locked On Wizards. When I'm hydrated, everything just works better. My focus, energy, mood, even my skin. That's why I've been using Drip Drop. It's a doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands. Using a science-baked formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. I like using Drip Drop as part of my daily routine. I'll mix a packet in the morning before the gym or during that midday slump. It actually tastes amazing. My go-to flavor is the lemon lime, and it becomes my secret weapon for staying sharp and energized through long days. Hydration has become a non-negotiable for me. Drip Drop helps me feel sharper, calmer, and honestly just better overall. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard and keeps your body from performing at the best. Get Drip Drop now. The holiday season is right around the corner, and that means it's time to get your home ready. Whether you need more seats for your guests, cozy new linens, or fun serveware for holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help you make your space shine. And the best part, you don't have to wait. Wayfair's Black Friday deals are all happening all month long with up to 70% off everything from sofas to spatulas. I recently upgraded my dining chairs from Wayfair, and it completely transformed the room. The one thing I like the most is how fast everything shipped. It came just in time for the holidays. Thanksgiving's coming up. I can't wait for the family to come and see everything we've done to upgrade our living space. Browsing through their site, it's easy to find the pieces that actually fit my style. Nothing generic, just quality designs that feel personal. If you've ever hosted family for the holidays, you know how much of a difference some new touches can make. Wayfair makes that easy. Don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head to wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday sale for up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th.
Hey, Danny, Cam Whitmore was a guy that Wizards fans were excited about going into this season because he's just so freaking athletic and explosive. And the first 7 to 8 games, we were a little patient trying to figure out his role here in DC. But the past 3 games, he's really come along. How would you assess his tenure so far in DC?
Yeah, 2 things. 1, excellent commercial read, Strober. Pro. Look at me, professional. Love that. Whitmore's, I'm intrigued too. And again, this is the phase we're in, right? Somebody that's that big, that strong, and moves around. I mean, he's more powerful than I thought. I mean, I always knew he was a good body guy that was explosive, but how does that translate onto a basketball court? Pretty darn well at times. I wish he was a bit more engaged more often as a defender. I think he could actually do some really good things when the traffic's tight and he could be physical as a defensive player. It could be a real pain in the butt to play against, but hard not to be impressed with the guy. Again, this is one of those, I don't know that he's a build-around guy, right? But this is, I'm going to keep saying this till I'm blue in the face and everyone's going to be tired of it. Asset gathering, that's an asset. That's what it is to me. Now, whether that's an asset here or somebody or a player that someone's going to want, like a guy coming off the bench for a playoff team, as a sort of a microwave type guy to get some instant offense, to create some matchup problems, get him going downhill. But I've been impressed, I would say, because, he was buried in his previous spot. So I've liked what I've seen to this point. I think there's more there. It's kind of an untapped vein.
You talked a lot about Alex Sarr earlier in that first segment, Danny. I went through it yesterday in the podcast that he's played at almost an all-star level through the first 11 games of the season. Obviously, he's not going to get that type of nod because he's playing for the Wizards. It's a popularity contest, but the data's there for it. The per 100 possessions up around 8 points per game. His efficiency increased around 15% on the field goal percentage. I want Charles Barkley to tell me why he's been so much better here in year number 2.
Okay, Ernie, first of all, like I say, there's an Alex Sarr. Alex Sarr, what he's doing now, Ernie, last year he took jump shot. And that a dude that's 18 feet tall, shooting the jumper. Listen, you got to go down low. He move his feet around a little bit, Kenny, and what he do, but he runs, okay. And when he runs, it means he move fast, and he can outrun some of the bigger bigs. You know what I'm talking when I say big, like there's a big, and then there's the bigger big, like Alberto Segway. Like last night, Umberto Segway, he bit him down the court a couple of times, Kenny, and that's going to help you get easy buckets. He needs to be more physicality. He needs to be more intent, go hard, intense, like inside of a tent. That's what you have to do, Kenny. And then the most important thing is you get some easy buckets. All of a sudden, now you're in rhythm. Now they back off you. You can hit some of them threes. Back to you, Benny and Kenny.
Yeah, that was amazing, Danny. Oh my God.
It's a thing, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. 10 game skid right now for the Wiz kids, Danny. How would you, if you were Coach Brian Keefe, we talked about this in our last podcast, what would you say to these young guys? I mean, what can you say? Because again, last year it was 2 16-game losing streaks, and you just don't want to repeat that this year.
This is such a tough thing. This is not an easy job at that point, right? Where you're talking about that, where you're trying to reinforce good positive habits. And this goes for any level of sports, right? Like I'm much older than you guys. I've got kids. And when you're telling a player something, and I've coached a bunch, I'm not at the NBA level, obviously, I'm not comparing myself to Brian Keefe, but when you tell a kid something, do this, and there's a trust there, when they try it and it doesn't work, it's really hard to keep telling them, no, trust me, I know best, and not have them fall into habits, right? So like when I tell my 7-year-old, don't shoot it with your 2 hands like this, pushing it up. I promise you, with 1 hand back, guide hand on the side. He's not as good at that right now. So he's going to do the thing that he's comfortable with. Getting guys to not fall into those habits. And I understand philosophically, we talked about this in the first segment, why they've got enough vets around to try and reinforce some of those good habits as often as possible. But it's not as if you've got, 7 Marcus Smarts here that are telling you how to be tenacious and the like. It's, it's kind of a mixed bag of guys, but you're trying to reinforce some of those good things. It's a tough message to get through. And that's part of the selection process, honestly, right? Is you're going to find somebody who's going to rise above the bad culture, right? Who's going to rise above the losing and do things the right way all the time, knowing with faith, and this is hard, that the pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow. Now, the rainbow is 2 trillion light years away, but there is a rainbow, and you got to keep working at it. It's not easy, I would say that.
The only way they're going to get closer to the rainbow is by drafting that cornerstone piece that this team needs, Danny. The Pistons, a team that built that young core, lost 28 games in a row together, and look at them, they're top of the Eastern Conference right now. They've won 8 games in a row, but it's because they have a Cade Cunningham. And although I don't know if I really want a guy taking 45 shots every single night in their team, maybe just a one-off there for Cade, obviously. But this draft class upcoming, stacked, as we know. I know you've got some feelings on one of those guys in AJ Dybantsa. But with this team's need going into this draft class, is that still your top guy as it stands right now? I know things could change as the year goes on. Tell us why it'd be him if it is.
It's a listen, you can't go wrong. Throw a dart, honestly, none of the top few names. You're going to be really pleased. I love this draft class. I love it. And we're in November, and that's all I can think about is the springtime, getting the right pick, and hopefully it's one of these dudes comes to us. So I've fallen in love with Dybantsa. I'm not telling you anything bad about Peterson. My God, that kid, I see Anthony Edwards. I don't know about it if he's as powerful as Edwards, explosion-wise, strength-wise, but everything else I see Edwards, kind of like a combo guard plus. Cameron Boozer I've only seen once. Obviously, one of the most prolific high school players, efficient high school players ever. I'd like to see more of him. But again, that's a great name. He's incredible. But for Dybantsa, I just see it. I see a little bit of that Tracy McGrady. I see a little bit of that kind of the new modern era of anything you want done on the basketball court. Would you like a help defender to swat a shot into the 10th row? Do you want a step back 3? Do you want a guy gliding from the wing to create his own offense? Do you want a guy getting out in transition? Anything you'd like done on the court, it feels like that kid can do, and he's just scratching the surface. He is so smooth, so efficient. It's there's a little Kevin Durant to it as well, and that's one of one. They don't make people like that in terms of human beings, but it doesn't look like he's ever hurried. It doesn't look like he's ever in fast motion, and nobody can stick with him, right? Even as slender as he is, just getting his looks. And it's just a matter of time before he becomes, I think, a knockdown shooter. He will be able to get his offense against any person in the world, it feels like to me. So, again, I've fallen in love, and I do this to myself, where I fall in love with the prospect. I convince myself that this is the only way, that we're going to be together forever, and he's going to lead me to championships. I've been disappointed a million times, whether he doesn't come to me in the draft or maybe not as good as I think. But at this stage, again, I don't think you can go wrong. This is not me knocking into the other prospects. I've fallen in love with Dybantsa.
Yeah, Danny, a lot of fans would say Darren Peterson would be more ideal just because they want that ideal pure point guard. And we thought it could be Bub Carrington, but again, just the experiment at the point guard just really hasn't looked as well as we thought he would. And he's having the sophomore slump, which I think he'll definitely carve out a role here, being that combo guard. So to those fans that say we'd rather have Fit over a special guy like Dybantsa, you would agree with that?
I don't. And I don't, again, I don't hate the logic, right? But I think anytime I take this in football, if you draft for need, you end up needing, if that makes any sense, right? Like to me, in this stage where they are, if you think Peterson's the best player, and he might be, by the way, I mean, he's incredible. I watched one scrimmage, not a scrimmage, whatever, exhibition game that didn't count. And then I watched a real one that did. And I just went, oh my God, he's better than everybody. He's incredible. If that's your answer, it's a great answer. And he fits. I don't know if he's a pure point guard, but I also don't know if that matters. Right? He's so explosive. He's so good that you just put the ball in his hands and we'll figure the rest out. Right? You're going to, cheat off of him or cheat off of some other teammates that he can find the open guy. There's nothing he can't do on a basketball court. He's incredible. So that may be the answer as well. But I don't draft for need at this stage. Again, I don't know if I'm blue in the face or if you guys are sick of hearing it, asset gathering time. And one of those two guys, maybe it's Boozer who catapults number one, I don't know, is the asset. That's what you want at this stage to begin building around, because the way contracts are going to line up, the way this whole thing's going to work right now, it's like, okay, Keyshawn George has had a nice little leap and Alex Sarr had a nice little leap. But, I'll have a bunch of these other guys that will be up for extensions by the time this dude enters his prime. Do I want to pay everybody, or am I starting to spin some of these dudes to playoff teams or other folks that need help, or, for future picks or whatever? I don't know what the team's going to look like in 2 years, and neither do you. We're looking for the guy that Strober said is the cornerstone franchise guy. They have some nice pieces right now that I'm excited about. I need oh my God, DC has blank, and now we're one of the cool kids. That's the thing that's been missing for most of my life, right? And again, you guys are so young, but the NBA is pretty unique in this regard. The NFL's kind of getting into this too, but the NBA, for whatever reason, there are a handful of cities that are the cool cities, the cool teams. The Wizards have never been one. They were cool for 5 minutes when Michael Jordan, in his 40s with knees like mine, came back and averaged 25-5 for a team that couldn't make the postseason. That was cool for a minute. And we couldn't draw, and nobody knew how to play with Mike and whatever. But that was the only time we were cool. We were cool with Gilbert Arenas and the Big Three for about an hour and a half. And again, that wasn't particularly great. They kind of delved into loserdom, guns in the locker room, the whole deal. You need a superstar that's homegrown that people want to come play with. That's what is needed. And all of a sudden, it'll be like, yeah, I could go to Miami, but I could also go to DC, a place that's great culturally, that's got a million things nightlife-wise for guys that want to do. Jalen Rose talked about this for years ago on, I can't remember which podcast it was, where he's like, I've never understood why DC, a basketball hotbed, can never get into the cool kids club, whereas I've seen teams go from outside in. Oklahoma City's a cool kid. Oklahoma City, have you ever been there? It sucks, respectfully. There's nothing cool about it. And they're now one of the cool kids because they've got kind of the mojo. They found the right guys. They build from within. They promote their own dudes. Next thing you know, everybody wants to go play there. Everyone wants to go be a part of it, right? You've seen everybody kind of take a turn. Sacramento was cool for a while. They haven't been cool in a while. The Clippers are cool. The stupid Clippers were cool for a hot minute. It can happen. I firmly believe it. Dallas was cool. I'll go all day. DC has never had the chance to be that in the NBA, and they need that. They need the guy to go, you know what? I could go anywhere, but I'm going to force my trade to DC, or I'm going to take less to go be the third banana when I was a first banana early in my career. Now I'll be kind of the third guy, Jimmy Butler style, to go help me win a championship. That sort of thing is needed, and you need that superstar to kickstart that process.
I love to see the passion, Danny. I want to be a cool kid. I want this basketball team to be part of that cool kid club you bring up because right now I thought the football team was going to be part of that club, but evidently this year they're not part of that club. I know you're frustrated about it. You're going to have to go be frustrated about it for 4.5 hours, so we're going to let you go on that. Danny Rouhier, one half of the Grand Danny Show, 2 to 6:30 on 106.7 The Fan. Danny, we appreciate you for coming on and doing this.
Thank you, boys. Appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir.
No problem. Mr. Danny Rouhier, one of the best to do it. Let's take one more quick break. When we come back, a quick Capital City Go-Go update before we get out of here. The NBA season is heating up right now, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching for the highlights, your fantasy team, or your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the Bag Drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, DoorDash drops 50% off of your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking about player-inspired drip, exclusive gear and stuff you'll actually want. I love that it's not just food. You'll get everything from snacks and drinks to headphones, ice, even socks, all delivered. DoorDash has you covered for the late-night highlights, last-minute watch parties, and double OT fuel-ups. So next time someone goes off for 50, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass, plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only 50% off up to $10 the day after a 50-point game. With promo code terms apply, no purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game more exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
That was great, Ben. Danny is, wow, that's one of one right there.
Danny is truly one of the best. The reason his Twitter handle is funny, Danny, is like, it speaks for itself. He's one of the funniest people I've met, one of the funniest people you can hear on the airwaves on 106.7 The Fan. So be sure to listen to Grant and Danny. They talk Wizards plenty on there as well, part of the Beltway Blitz. They'll have a plethora of guests on there. All right, let's talk a little Capital City Go-Go while we have some time, AB. The season just got underway about a week ago. The teams played 3 games. One thing I wanted to touch on, Jamir Watkins played his first game with the Go-Go yesterday. We're looking to see some good minutes from him with this Go-Go team because obviously only saw a handful of minutes early on at the NBA level. Saw some good minutes from him, actually, in the Cleveland game where he got to guard up on Donovan Mitchell one-on-one. One thing you want to see him work on is his offensive production. It didn't start off great for him. In 26 minutes for the Go-Go yesterday, ended up scoring 11 points. 4-14 from the field. He was 0 for 5 from behind the arc. It's going to be interesting to see the way they try to develop him offensively, Abdullah, because they're going to try to get him up to speed with his three-point shot, because if you can develop him into that 3-and-D type player, just with his defensive ability alone, if he can give you any resemblance of offensive ability, he's a dude you have to have in your rotation.
Yeah, I love that Coach Brian Keefe said, hey, you're a young guy, you can play defense, you did it in the summer league, you did it in college, go out there and guard Donovan Mitchell, a really good guard in this league. And offensively, if you can find a way to get that three-point shot down or finds a way, a mid-range shot, or gets really crafty in the lane, then that's it. There's your guy that I want to see a lot of minutes played. I think doing it the G League, great development there. And we've seen what the Capital City Go-Go have done dealing with guys in the past like Justin Champagnie and many others. I think right now it's trying to develop that offensive game. That's really what's going to be interesting about Jamir Watkins, because again, man, it was like in the summer league where he had a crazy amount of steals, and I think right now you need all the help you can get defensively. This Wizards team is giving up 130 points per game, dead last in the NBA, and if Jamir Watkins can go out there and get you a defensive stop or two, you got to bring him on the floor.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. There's a good amount of intriguing little pieces development-wise. I know the Wizards have had success with the Capital City Go-Go in years past, so I'm just trying to keep tabs on everyone right now. A couple of other guys that have stood out to me, Leaky Black. We saw him in the summer league. He's a really nice kind of little guard that you can have on your squad. He got some minutes in the preseason as well. He's had a decent start to the Capital City Go-Go season. He's averaging about 10 points on pretty efficient shooting, 40% from the field so far. So good stuff from him. Assists at 6 per game as well. He's kind of been that lead point guard position guy for the Go-Go. A couple of other guys have said Alondis Williams averaging 22 per game. Scal, I'm going to apologize if I say his last name, Labissiere.
Scal Labissiere, right?
Labissiere. Okay, Labissiere. Yeah,
I remember that from 2K.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember how to say his name. Some of these prospects are intriguing. They've been around for a while. Like Labissiere has been around since 2016. He was a first-round pick for the Suns, 28th overall. So some of these guys still trying to find their footing at that level. But, there's something to be said about players who do develop in the G League and what they can eventually become in the league when they get up here, AB. Maybe we're going to see a similar story like that at some point with one of these Wizards.
Especially since we're not going to be competing, you might as well see the development of not only the young guys on your roster, but also in the G League. Also, side note, Ben, every time I watch a Milwaukee Bucks game, I just see Ryan Rollins do he's just balling out there. And it sucks. I know Wizards fans, they don't want to hear it, but I mean, imagine a Ryan Rollins on this roster.
Yeah, I don't know why he had to go steal a Target, but he made a mistake. He made a mistake. I think he's learned from it, and he's balling out now as a result. So, tough situation for the Wizards that end up letting him go, but at the end of the day, we move forward. The guy, he's balling out right now, and Milwaukee looks good with him kind of at that lead point guard role. He'd look good on this team. He would.
Very. I mean, we need a pure point guard, and he kind of fits that. First game or next game up, Ben, Brooklyn Nets. I think it's winnable. I think it is.
So we had this conversation on the Junkies this morning. Like, you've been non-competitive in a lot of these games, and maybe the effort at times hasn't been there in some of them. With the Brooklyn Nets team, like, you have to be at least I don't really imagine a scenario where they're not competitive in this game, because I think Brooklyn is just as bad, if not worse, obviously, than the Wizards are in terms of talent. Those guys drafted 5 players in the first round. A lot of them don't even really see significant time yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops as the season goes on. But Brooklyn very much in the same boat as Washington. They're trying to be a team that picks in the top of the draft again. So I'd like to see the team get a win, though. I feel like you've lost 10 games in a row. It's about time you see the team get a victory. Like, they've been close, obviously, in the Detroit game. They've been not very close in a lot of these games. But if they can put together a relatively complete effort, I'd like to see them rewarded with a win.
Yeah, if you come out flat and get destroyed by Brooklyn at home, Ben, then there's got to be some unfriendly conversations, because that's just, I mean, like, how can we keep on going talking about this team if we're getting blown out by a team that's in the bottom of the barrel with you?
Yeah, it'd be tough. But at times last year, you saw this team lose to Utah. But that was almost more of a situation where, like, you were trying to out-tank them in a way. So losing to them wasn't the worst thing in the world at that point. We'll see. It's early in the season.
And they still ended up with a higher draft pick than us, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I'm starting to wonder, maybe this team will bottom out for a lot of the first half of the season. And if you really are looking low in the win total, like under double digits by, I don't know, game 60 or whatever, the season, game 65, maybe you see the team, the final 15-game stretch of the season, really go balls to the wall trying to compete. Because you're still not going to win a lot of these games just based on the talent you have. But you can afford to win more of these games without it kind of screwing up your tank or your positioning. So maybe we'll see something like that, kind of like we did last year, where the team picked it up a little bit in the final quarter of the season, played decent ball. Maybe it looks like that this year. We'll see.
Yeah. Again, you want to be competitive in every game. You don't want to be down 30 by the end of the first half. For fans in general, it's going to be hard to watch that.
Yeah, 100%. All right, that'll do it for the week here on Locked On Wizards. We got the next 2 off, but on Sunday, Wizards and Nets from Capital One Arena. Abdul and I will be there for the coverage, as always, here on Locked On Wizards. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today and every single day. If you're an everydayer, we hope you enjoyed Danny Rouhier on the pod today. One of the best. Go and check him out on Twitter at FunnyDanny. For my co-host, Abdullah Ayyubi, I'm Ben Strober, DC family. We'll talk to you Sunday.